Welcome to Collector Chatter. Let's talk about all things collecting in 2023.
And as we all know, collecting is the way. Now let's chat.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Welcome to our end of year episode.
Yes.
Yes, we're very excited. It's episode 86. I'm your host, Migs, as always, with my co-host, Charlie. We are super pumped for this episode. We do it every year so far at the end of the year. We
Yeah.
want to talk about all the collecting stuff. Everything has to do with collectibles and collecting in the year 2023, because this year is literally about to be over, which is
Which is
insane.
insane. What a
Insane.
this year flew by.
Yeah, and it was a big year. A lot of good, a lot of bad, a lot
Yep.
of craziness. We're going to talk about it all. We obviously will talk about Funko predominantly. As you know, we kind of started more as a Funko collecting channel. So we'll talk about that kind of stuff, all the good stuff with Funko, all the bad stuff with Funko, because there was plenty of it throughout the year. But we're also collectors in the sense of we collect a lot of other things. So we have plenty of other collectibles that we want to talk about, which we're going to be pretty excited to just get into this, like, kind of what we thought about the year and just get
Yeah.
into certain little topics and little things here and there. And then, like always, we'll also end it by talking about what we think of 2024, like what's that going to be like, what's going to be like specifically for Funko and that term of stuff. But happy holidays, Merry Christmas, all that kind of stuff. I hope you guys are having a great end of year. But we are very excited to get into this. So, Charlie, where do you want to start? So I mean, I don't know. I guess we could start
Yeah.
with Funko type stuff.
I think we start
That's
with Funko
mostly what
type
it was.
stuff and, you know, kind of things that excited us this year. Obviously, we had a ton of, awesome molds. We had a lot of bad molds. But one thing that I want to say is, Funko did extend themselves into some new product categories this year that I'm going to talk about the ones I thought were good.
Hmm.
One of their biggest ones, I think, being the Bitty Pops. Um, they seem to be popular amongst the fans. I think it's gotten a few new people to come into the Funko world, which they've been trying to do with other products that just haven't worked. And I think that's a product that's actually here to stay, and it isn't one that's gonna just disappear. Um,
Yeah.
what is your opinion on that one?
Yeah, I agree. It's something that they can, they're small. They can make multiple different lines and they can keep it going. They've even done like, they've almost like accessorized it where like you could buy just the little cases separately. You could
Yeah,
buy individual biddies separately. So like they're clearly making this a pretty big focus for them. When it first was announced and we started like kind of hearing about it, I was kind of skeptical. Like, yeah, maybe this will do good. And like, I still don't think it's like the greatest line in the world, but I kind of understand it and I see it. I have a few of them, and it's more catered towards like kids, I guess you could say. But they did a pretty good job of at least what the lines that they came out with.
yeah.
So, we got a decent amount of them, and I totally agree. I think it's something that they're just going to continue to make, and it'll be just kind of like another extension to their Funko Pop line, just having the Biddy version essentially.
It's just funny though. One thing they did announce at the beginning of the year when these were coming out was the mini sodas, which I don't know if you remember that, but like we have
Yeah,
yet to see
I
those.
never thought
And
about that, but yeah,
I feel like we're never going to see those because the sodas line has just been weird, as we've talked about in past episodes. Because like another thing that they did introduce this year, which it wasn't necessarily a new product line, but was the common soda with no numbers,
yeah,
which I know both you and I are not a fan of.
yeah,
And it already looks like they're kind of getting rid of those. So I don't really think those are here to stay. I do think hopefully, which we'll talk about later, what we think is to come, but for sodas, I think that was a miss. And I
yeah.
mean, I know you agree, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we've had episodes on just sodas and then specifically those common ones. But yeah, that's something that's interesting when you say the soda biddy thing, because that
Yeah.
was something I did kind of forget about. But it's probably not gonna happen because we definitely didn't see
Yeah.
any at all, and we saw a lot of the biddy pops. So yeah, that's an interesting one that I think we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Um, But we had another line that I think was to kind of stay with like the overall new
Yeah.
lines. That was a pretty successful one. It's still one I do not. Therefore, I don't really see the point of it. I don't know how it's becoming such a popular thing, but it almost kind of replaced the sodas to kind of go back to the whole how sodas are not the same as they used to be.
Yep.
And it is, of course, the Rewinds, Blockbuster Rewinds line, which I know when Funko announced this, it was kind of out of nowhere. We saw like these VHS style uh cases and we were like, oh, what is it going to be? And it had a figure in it with a chase option. So that's like the whole how it was very similar to a soda, but obviously in like a little plastic cheapy case, which is probably cheaper to make. The figures themselves, I still think they look hideous. They're like terrible looking. They're so plain. They look like, I don't know, some kind of like little kid's like Duplo character or something. Like it just doesn't seem like
It
it
does
was a lot of
definitely
work
have
into
more
it.
of a little kid look. I do agree with
Yeah.
that.
And I agreed to the whole idea was cool. You had the little card in there. It was obviously kind of collab to Blockbuster, which was also kind of random because Blockbuster is not really in existence anymore.
Agreed.
So it was kind of more of that vintage thing, whatever. But they dropped a lot of them. They came a lot of them during the con. They were a big deal, and then they had a wave of them. They're a little delayed, but then they finally did release. We have people like Sidekick Inc., who obviously is a cool guy that we
Yeah.
actually got to meet at the con, who's a hardcore rewinds
Yeah, that's his
collector.
like main thing now.
Yeah, loves it. And I mean, like I said, they're selling, they're out there. It's not really for me, but I do see this as a line. Obviously, that was a pretty big deal in 2023 for Funko, and it's kind of continuing to be the same thing. So I don't know what you think. I know you are a little bit more of a fan per
Yeah.
se, because you do have more of them.
I
I don't own any besides the one that came in like the box.
oh
So that
the
like,
run,
yeah,
the
yeah,
fun
that
on the
was
run.
the only one I ever have.
I mean, I am more of yeah, obviously I'm more of a fan than you are. I'm like I'm in between these though because I look at the two things we just talked about where like the common sodas I think are totally done. The bitty pops are here to say. I still think they're trying to figure out what the future of Rewind is because I don't know how well they do sell actually. Like I think they're cool and I like you said I do have a few of them and I like look like I think the nostalgic of like the VHS case is pretty cool, especially for Disney. Like for me it's more of a Disney thing where like I don't really care as much as if I see a VH cover for a random movie because like I feel like the Disney line really owned those like clamshell ones, but they're still like con ones are still sitting on like the Funko shop. So
Mhm.
that just makes me feel like I don't know if any of them have ever sold out. But I also think if
Yeah, I
they
don't know.
numbered these, it would be a different story. That to me is like the one thing I don't like. Just give us the number, even if they're fake. Like just let us feel like I mean, I was just even opening up some like sodas that I've had that I've been wanting to open to make a video, and I'm just like, when you see the number and even with the on the pog, like it's still fun, even if it's means nothing. And
Yeah.
I do think they should have done that. I mean, they could have put on the Blockbuster card, could have put it somewhere on the case
Hmm.
and called it a day. I think they should try to maybe do that in the new year if they want this to continue or
Yeah.
somewhat thrive.
I mean, I think it goes back to like really Funko looking themselves in the mirror and figuring out like, are they a collectible company, or are they just a widespread toy making company? And
Yeah.
it's kind of like they kind of teeter back and forth between the two. But when it comes to a lot of products, they rather do the bulk of them and just have massive amounts. So obviously these things are probably not selling out because there just isn't a limit to them. They're just mass producing them and they'll probably continue to produce them just to keep selling them.
Yeah.
Even though some like the con ones, they should be exclusive because they're for a con. And I don't know. But yeah, I agree. The number part kind of also steers me away from them because they don't just seem like fun and exclusive to that. But again, they're just not my cup of tea because they're probably not looking for me to buy them. They're looking
No,
for those people who just, oh, this is a cool little looks like a VHS toy, whatever, and it's just like easier
that
for
was
them
definitely
to access.
strategic. I feel like they made it look a little more mainstream. Even though, like, I've seen another problem with them, though, with the sodas, too, which is upsetting. I actually saw a few in Target over the weekend. They all were ripped open. And it's just like, come on.
Yeah.
I've actually been seeing that more and more with just like even all mystery products, not just Funko. And it's sad because they're so fun. But when you find them in retail, people are opening them, and it's just like what? And I'm sure Funko's no like that's hurting their sales. They're not going to
Mhm.
flat out just say it, but they're going to sit on the Target shelves then, for example, because who's going to buy something that's been opened?
Yeah,
So,
doesn't make sense.
an
What else?
another big thing, which I know they've had it before in a Funko store, but not for the masses, is Pop Yourself. I wanted to bring up because
Mm.
that to me is the advertising I actually see for that is insane. Um, I feel like that's all Funko's pumping out. And one of the reasons I even wanted to bring it up, my wife was telling me one of her coworkers, they're not collectibles people, they don't really know Funko. He bought them for his entire family for Christmas. And I'm just like, I mean, that's definitely what Funko wants to happen. Um, but I just find it interesting that like they really, really, really have been pushing that. And even though from the I still have yet to get one, which is kind of insane.
Really?
I just never got like none of them looked. I want one, but I couldn't find one that like I felt like actually looked like me, if that makes sense. I mean, I know they're not going to actually look like you, but like even my hair,
Yeah.
I'm like, and I've noticed they have expanded more. But then when I saw yours, like the Funko collectors are like, dude, they're putting no care into this. They're shipping them. They're crappy, yada yada yada. But on the reverse, it just surprised me was the non-Funko collectors like, this is amazing. Like that is such a novelty product that anyone could find cool. So that
Yeah.
kudos to Funko for that. I get like,
No, I mean, it makes sense. I think you don't have to be a Funko collector. It's more like, and again, like this is probably how they see it, but it's more like, oh, look, I was made into a toy or a little
yep,
figure, and like this is me, and it has a box with my name on it. Like you don't necessarily have to be a Funko collector or know even who they are to come across like if someone's looking up like custom figure or made figure, things like that. Like I'm sure they're all over the SEO on that. So you're going to be able to find them and
yep,
purchase it, even if you don't know that they make thousands of other figures. It's a way to kind of get into it. And like, yeah, I'm not like surprised to hear that, but it's kind of funny to hear it when you say, because we're so like enthralled in this freaking
yeah,
collector community that there are people out there who have no idea what Funko are. And like I meet them all the time. Like I talk to people that have no idea what the hell they are. But it's interesting to see that like that's kind of a way in for some of them. And maybe initially we wouldn't have thought that would be like a way to get people in to Funko. And it's like
yeah.
maybe they
It's
did.
crazy.
And maybe they'll never buy another Funko Pop again. But yeah, like the Pop Yourself thing was definitely big. And it was good that they did it like online and you were able to do you'd have to go to the headquarters one or whatever it was that they had originally. So like they've expanded it. They've done it for Halloween where they had exclusive like
Yep.
things specifically for like trick-or-treating style and stuff. And now for the holidays, there's been like new ones. And it's cool that they can keep doing that and adding to it. I think there's like definitely still plenty more they can do. I understand like not having massive variety right away, which kind of makes sense
Which
because they
makes
kind of want to
sense.
see how it goes. But I think they can start putting in more hairstyles and faces and whatever it may be, and kind of make it even better. Because yeah, I think this is a great way for them to get pretty much everyone can get one of these at one point. If you want to get and you get multiple ones, if you want to have multiple things. And what's cool is that the items are removable, so you can kind of swap them out and change your look or change the way you are if you have
Which is
multiple
super
like
cool.
yeah accessories and stuff. So I just unfortunately, if you guys didn't see, check my Instagram where I put up the reel of me actually opening it, literally live opening it up, and my thing just came totally dismantled, which is a whole nother issue when it came to that. But yeah, that was an interesting one for sure. But yeah, that's something I didn't even think about when I was thinking. I was like, oh, we're going to talk about whatever, and I forgot that that was even something that really
Yeah.
started up this past year, for like a line, I guess you could say, because it is kind of its own line in a way. Uh, but let's get into I want to get into kind of like a top favorites thing.
Yeah.
And I wanted to say this one specific because I think this has always been one of our bigger lines, one of our bigger topics that we talk about all the time. And it's something that we collect a lot. And it's of course Funko NFTs. So
Yes.
I know Funko NFTs have been a big deal for quite some time now. And within this last year, there was a lot of drops. And I started running through them and like trying to remember like, what were some of the first ones that came out and what were some of my favorites. And I don't know if you have one or if you can think of one, but I came up with a top five of these
Top
for
five.
myself.
Okay.
Yeah, personally, just because there's enough of them. We were fans of them. Number five is kind of a cop out because it's like a tie between a few of them. But then I do have like
Okay.
a real top four, let's say. But maybe when I say some of these, this will kind of refresh your memory and a couple too as well. So I'll go through mine. But so at number five, like I said, it's kind of like a cop out because I do have a couple. But I would say House of Dragon, Power Rangers, and Jurassic Park are like all like the five slash like honorable mentions for me. Like I feel like I was like big fans of them. I love specifically like the royalty of two of them, and like the other line was one of my favorite shows. So I thought those were really cool. But the top four, I'm like hardcore. I thought these were great. So four for me was Stranger Things. I
Okay.
love the Stranger Things line. Obviously, I love Stranger Things in general. Uh, but that royalty is really what like drives that line where it was such a hot one. It was so hard to get. The pricing was wild to get like on the aftermarket to build that set to get the royalty. And that was something that was exciting for me because I can't wait to see that that actual Freddy come in. I think it's gonna be awesome. Number three for me, or number three for me is gonna be the It line. Love
Okay.
it. Obviously a fan of it. This was kind of technically the second version. It was just strictly it. Whereas, if I can see back here, I have this Georgie one, which is awesome, which is a WB horror, right? That's what that line was.
Yes. The
Uh,
royalty.
yeah. Two would be Dark Knight. Favorite movie all time. So like they put it into Funko Pop form. It was amazing. And NFTs, I thought those redeemables look so sick. Royalty, not the best, but the Grail and the other ones were just so awesome. And then my number one has to be Funkoween. It's always kind of been one of my favorite ones. Like last year's Halloween series was like one probably of all time my favorite line, but that
Yeah, I
was
agree
that
to
was
that.
from last year. But this one super cool. Like I loved the way the redeemables looked and like what they did with them. And anytime Freddy is specifically the main thing is always like probably one of my favorites. But that was my top, what was that, like eight or whatever. But let's see. I don't know. What were some of your
Yeah, so
favorites?
I mean, I'll try to do five. Number five, I'm gonna go with maybe controversial, but I gotta throw Disney in there. Um, just for the fact that it's an NFT form, and I know I've had such mixed feelings on this. I don't like that it was a drop exclusive, but I just like what it may mean for the future of Funko NFTs, and that we got a Disney brand and Disney. I mean, I'm wearing a goofy freaking Santa hat right here, so love that. Then I think I'm gonna go with Stranger Things.
Mhm.
Um, that line, super cool. I know at first even I was a little bit like, why are these the redeemables? But I came
Yeah.
around to I'm like, these are pretty sick. And like that's kind of what I want NFTs to be in the future, just like the NFT drop, where it's a super niche, like special thing from that series. The next one I'm gonna go with is The Dark Knight. I mean, the pops for that movies in general were mega grails, and there's very little. So when we came out with the NFTs, and they came out with, just for example, like the Scarecrow and
Harvey
Harvey
Dent.
Dent, like they're just super sick.
Yeah.
Annoyed I didn't get Harvey Dent, but the Scarecrow one's
Same.
amazing. And I even came around to, I know we were ripping the royalty when it first got announced that it could have been something better, but I do like that.
Yeah.
Um, Next, I'm gonna go with the Nickelodeon line. I just think those are super fun and cool, and they really give you obscure characters that like they probably would never make in a normal pop form. So, and even like that royal, like the Freddy Funkos for the Nickelodeon lines have both been absolute fire. With the slime, with getting the Kid
Yeah,
Choice
that one was
Awards,
cool.
and then getting for this series Freddy as a Reptar. Just super super cool.
Yeah.
And
And you
then
and you're contractually obligated to say put them in your
yes,
top five. So
yes. But still just like those ones excite me like a lot, regardless of my,
yeah.
relationship with Nickelodeon. Now, I know you're joking, but like there are like the Nickelodeon branded pops, and there's a lot of them. Like the series they never like blew them out like they do out of proportion for like a lot of other IPs.
Yeah,
So
true.
that's why like there's a lot for you to work with, and why I really like them. So okay, so we said Disney, we said Nickelodeon, we said Dark Knight, Stranger Things. So for my number one, and this may sound like a cop, but I'm actually gonna do a tie because I
Okay.
really can't choose between these, and they're both Freddy. One is the Funkoween, but I also love the April Fool's one.
Wow.
I I loved that one. I think that's super underrated. That was the most exciting NFT drop I think I've actually had all year. I may even go to say I'll make that number one and we'll drop all the other ones down one because I was forgetting one when I was making the list. With making the Funkoween just a little bit below that.
Yeah.
I just I love that it was a small drop. I love that it was all Freddy's. I thought they were super cool. It was weird. And like I said, there hasn't been hype for an NFT drop, in my opinion, like that since that one.
Hmm.
Funkoween was almost there, but that one was like the olden days of us trying to get the NFTs.
Yeah.
And
And it was
for
kind of like one of those out of nowhere jobs, wasn't it? It was a very, very
out of
unexpected.
nowhere. And I
Yeah.
don't know, there was just, and it was the first time we've gotten like, I still want a Max Token head Funko Pop,
Hmm.
which I don't know if you've noticed, he hasn't been in any of the cards for a long time. And
That's interesting. Yeah.
someone called that out in like the drop Discord, and they're like, he's gone nowhere, he'll be back. Um, which it was just a weird response, but um I liked that grail, which I didn't get, unfortunately. But where it was Freddy holding a Max token head, then holding a Freddy,
Yeah.
I just thought that was super cool.
Yeah. I haven't thought about that. It's interesting, the whole Max thing.
Yeah, I
How
mean,
you
it
haven't
was
seen that card at all in any of like the most recent
no, it's
drops.
super weird. Even like he's the like it's also just weird, like token head app, which like this is I've been wanting to talk about this on an episode, but since we're talking about NFTs right now, like drop that's obviously an app that drop like kind of promote it like
Hmm.
runs, but it at this point it's so far not what they're doing anymore. And like perfect example, like the Mickey and Friends drop, which is a drop exclusive, their values and stuff don't even show up in that app.
Yeah.
They haven't updated that app in like years. And like I really think they need to come out with an app,
Yeah.
in my
Like
opinion. Like I
exclusive, really.
exclusive and like maybe retire that one or just have better integrations. Like I hate being on my phone having to go on the website. I know that sounds like super nitpicky, but like I just prefer an app experience.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. But yeah, and definitely some solid lines. I mean, let us know if you guys are fans of the NFTs and what were some of your favorites. For the most part, those are pretty much the majority of the lines. Obviously, there's a few other ones that drop. Back to the Future was another drop.
Flintstones,
Um,
we had
Flintstones,
Hanna-Barbera series
yeah,
2.
some
We had a lot
Adventure
this
Time,
year.
stuff that we don't really like
Dungeons
necessarily
and
big fans.
Dragons.
So there was definitely
Yeah.
definitely a lot to choose from and a lot of variety and different IPs and different fandoms, which is great because that's what we want to see, them mixing it up and hopefully 2024 brings some awesome lines continuing on. I think they really do need to continue more of the Freddy type stuff. I think that's where it really hits, more than just the big major like lines, unless you're going to throw in a Freddy in there because for the most part it's the royalty, but not always. So let's see what we get for the next year.
It's also
But
funny
speak,
too. I forgot about the Power Rangers line too. That was a
yeah,
sick
Power
line as
Rangers.
well.
Yeah, yeah.
There's just
That's
like
I
not
had that like tied in my five, but
you're when you're
yeah. The ooze
you're
I think was
yeah.
made it like over the top because as a Power Ranger, we knew it wasn't this every single one. It was kind of a mixture. And then we had like the ooze one, which is cool. Um, but what I was gonna say is like speaking of Freddy's. I
Yeah.
want to actually get into some Freddy talk because Freddy's, as mostly, most years they dominate a lot of, fun days and different cons and stuff. And we got obviously Freddy as whatever X character. And I kind of wanted to pick your brand in here, like maybe some of your favorite Freddy's of the year. Maybe I'll
Yeah.
talk about some that I thought were pretty cool. I don't know if there's any off the top of your head or if you had any down that were some of your favorites for 2023.
Yeah. I mean, my favorite ones that I was able to acquire, I'm going to start with that because most of the ones that are my favorite, I don't think I'll ever have in my collection, unfortunately.
Same.
Um, but I loved the Green Ranger Freddy Funko.
Yeah.
So when I got that from Fun Days, I was super pumped. And I also really loved the Luke Skywalker as Freddy Funko. So his version from The Mandalorian holding Grogu, which is
Hmm.
amazing. But they went really hard on Star Wars Freddy Funkos this year, which were super sick. Like the Anakin, there's two Anakin ones. One is Clone Wars armor, and one is like, I mean, it's not an actual Force Ghost, but they how they like to do that, like clear
Glow
blue
color. Yeah.
glow. Those are absolutely amazing. They had a Ted Lasso Freddy Funko, which was
I forgot.
like, I like want that so bad. I mean, the Freddy Funkos this year, I mean, I can go on and on. Like they were amazing. I mean,
Hmm.
and I just the Captain America one. I mean, there's another Stormtrooper one,
Yeah.
which I don't want to keep saying Star Wars, but they're just super sick. And I also love that we got a bunch of, I know some people aren't loving them, but like the Freddy Funko sodas from the con this year, I thought were super cool. Like we got Batman, we got Ninja Turtles. I mean, there was a Darth Vader one that was exclusive
Yeah. That one
to
was cool.
the thing. I mean, one thing Funko did well this year was their Freddies, besides their debacle with them, but their molds were sick.
Yeah, which we'll get into that later. But I agree. I mean, some of the ones I had down as well were some of those Star Wars ones, like just the between the Luke and the Anakin one, like the Anakin one was so cool. The Green Ranger is probably one of my favorites as well, and that was one I did get in hand. It's not like the glow in the dark version, so like the piece count was the higher number, but I think that was still pretty cool. The Captain America one obviously was pretty sick. I think the Freddy's number 5, like the bloody variant, looked
Yeah.
so awesome. I love that one. And then the Flash and the Reverse Flash. Remember that? That came in the
Oh yeah,
box.
I'm not even thinking
So
of
yeah,
those.
I thought those were cool. Obviously, they came out with the Batman one as well. But the Flash and the Reverse Flash, I thought were just like super awesome looking ones and like a great version of Freddy. And then even the Freddy Bones, which wasn't even really like a Freddy as type of thing. It was just like a more exclusive
You're
thing.
right.
But
I
it just
wasn't
like,
thinking of that.
yeah, I loved like just that mold. I mean, we talked about it when we saw it. We talked about it when we opened it, like all that kind of stuff. And I obviously had different variations of it, but just in general, like that mold of Freddy with a mask on his head as Freddy, Larry Skeleton as Freddy. So like that was just so cool. But yeah, overall, tons of variety. There was plenty of other ones. It was like, Freddy as Wolverine.
Which is awesome.
There was like, yeah, a ton of different ones.
For like Freddy as Shaggy, we got
Shaggy,
Freddy
yeah, the Shaggy
as
one was cool.
Casey Jones, we got
Oh,
Freddy
Casey Jones,
as
forgot about that one.
um it was
There was a
we got a
Tron one, wasn't there, or
Transformers.
something? There
Tron
was
was
a
last year. I actually have
Okay, that was
that.
that shit. There was two Transformers ones, wasn't
Was it
there?
Optimus Prime this year or was it a Megatron? It was Megatron.
Megatron.
Because that was one of the ones that was the debacle of the
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, we had Freddy as Waldo. Like
Yeah, where's
they went
Waldo?
crazy. I mean, I'll never forget when we saw that list. I mean, I think it's some of the best Freddys they've ever made.
Yeah. And the only like the molds themselves 100%. What made them not like as exciting to a lot of people was that they were mass produced. We were
Yep.
5,000 piece, 4,000
Yep.
piece. Like we weren't getting the 20 piece Freddies and 1,000 piece or
I think those days are
500 piece.
done.
Yeah, so like that excitement of Freddy doesn't really exist anymore, but it is cool that we're getting so many different varieties and like completely different ones that you never even think of. And there's like small random characters, but then there's like big major ones. Like you didn't think we would get a bunch of these Star Wars ones that they did.
No.
And then we get like the polka dot man. Like, it was just such a variety of stuff. So it's like it was funny to see some of them. Obviously, there's a lot of debacle with stuff which we'll talk about in a little bit when we talk about more of the drama stuff. But overall, yeah, very, very exciting Freddy's for sure. And some cool ones that like are up there in the top like Freddy's of all times. It's just based off of the mold or the way they
Yeah.
look. Personally, I totally agree with you on that one as well as having some of the coolest ones. Um, but as far besides Freddy's and just Funkos in general, right? What were maybe a couple pops that just like whether it was like a line or a wave or something that
Yeah.
just popped out at you that you were like super excited for or that like you were actually super hyped that they even made?
Yeah. I mean, this is easy for me, and there's nothing special about them, but it was Disney 100 line and getting Walt Pops. I mean, Walt Disney is one of my most favorite people of all time, and I was never lucky enough to get the one pop they made that came with a castle. I like that they
Oh
made
yeah.
a, I mean, some people may say Funko did their Funko thing and made too many Waltz, but it didn't bother me because they were all different like if you're a Walt stan like me, they're all different stages throughout his career. And they hit them all and they're awesome. I love that we got Oswald, the lucky rabbit.
Yeah.
We got not only a pop, but we got a soda of him. The only one that ever existed of him was actually from like a Disney video game, which I don't really count that one because even though it's the character, it's just not the same mold that they made for this. And they even gave him a chase with the Funko Pop. So that really excited me. And I loved that we finally got some Ted Lasso Funko Pops, like an actual line, not just a random one from a con, which is just funny because I've been like loving Ted Lasso from the very beginning. And when that Funko Pop first came out, no one really wanted that at the con. And now that one has pretty decent value for something that no one really wanted, which I just find funny.
Hmm.
Um, and then one of my favorite pops of the entire year is in my background, which if I would tell you this in the beginning of the year when we started our podcast, everyone would laugh at me, but that's the Luffy wanted poster because I now am on the One Piece train of those Funko Pops being sick.
Yeah, I'm there with you. And that was one of my individual pops. Like obviously I have a few lines of them I'm gonna talk about, but like individual wise, like yeah, that was probably one of the best, honestly, one of the best pops of the year,
Yeah.
probably. Like I'm sure in a lot of people's minds that'll be in their top, especially if they're anime fans. Like it's gotta be one of the top ones of all time. And I'm the same way. Like we both kind of jumped into the One Piece thing super late. Netflix obviously helped
Yeah,
drive that for us with the live
totally.
action and then getting into the anime and then getting into the pops. And Charlie even getting into the trading card
Yeah, I want to
game,
get some of
which
these
will,
cards, man.
that'll be something maybe in the future that we can get into as well, because those are pretty sick sought after cards now that are coming out. But yeah, I totally agree. The Luffy one is very sick. Definitely one of my favorites as well. I would probably say the only other pop that I would probably say hands down was my favorite as an individual one is got to be the Dark Knight movie poster.
Yes, that's sick.
Like when I saw that that was coming out, I was excited. I never thought I would want something so massive, and I didn't want any of those damn movie posters. But I had to have this one. It's my favorite movie ever, so I got it. Still like it's down here somewhere, and it's like the poster in the bag is awesome. Both pops are amazing. It's cool that it's got both of them, a Joker and a Batman, and I
Yes.
love that they're bigger than your standard size pop. So like they're almost like a 6 inch pop. Like it's just such an amazing piece. And like I'm hoping that one day I have enough big enough place I could just hang it up on a nice, wall somewhere. But yeah, that was definitely one of my top favorites for sure. Overall, in sense of like a character that they made most not a character, but a person they made multiple of, and I'm excited that they started doing it is Michael Jackson. Like we
Yes.
finally got Michael Jackson stuff going into this year. We know the OG stuff and the debacle and how hard it was to ever get those, and then they were near impossible. They're one of the most faked pops, but now they're coming out with Michael Jackson. Had they overdone it? Maybe. But I'm loving them all because they're all
They're all different.
iconic looks. They look so sick. Like he had an iconic look, obviously, for every damn video song performance that he did. So it's perfect that they're just putting that into Funko form. Obviously, it started with the albums. We have like amazing Thriller album. We have the Bad album they came out with as well. So like as Funko Pop album wise, those are great. And then individual pop wise, I think everyone they've come out with so far has been amazing as well. Um, what else we had? We also had Formula One pops, which I talked about, man.
Yeah.
We had this conversation and I was like, they need to, this was probably a year ago. And I was like, they need to make Formula One pops. Like, what are they doing? Like, why do they only have NASCAR? Let's get Formula One pops and let's get Formula One rides. Boom. We finally start getting
We got
rides right
them.
towards the end of the year. I absolutely love them. And I'm excited to see if we start getting more because it's definitely something that I'm, passionate about in general. But yeah, those are probably like the bigger like and then I guess besides that I would say diecast still kind of being a thing, and specifically
Whoa.
the Spider-Man diecast I wanted to say is one of the best diecasts I think that they made, and obviously we got a Mickey.
Yeah,
You
we
remember
did.
that? There was a Mickey diecast.
We got to make
And
a
I mean,
diecast, which
diecast
I
seems like it's slowing down now. I know we kind of said like, oh, this would be something that'll kind of go for, but they never oversaturated it. So I kind of like the lifespan of it is. And if honestly they didn't make another diecast, I'd be okay with that because I pretty much have the entire collection except for the Indiana Jones. I never actually got that one. Did you get the Indiana
no,
Jones?
I need
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, that one. And then the Joker one, which did that actually drop? I
It
think.
didn't come out yet.
Okay,
No.
so that's the only two that I don't like actually have. But yeah, those are some, some top things that I
It's just so funny you bring up that line because I know we love it and it's just so interesting. Like you're right, it's probably done. Like I feel like they probably have some that were in the pipeline and it's if I'm being honest, I haven't bought the Indiana Jones ones because I always get burnt by buying them when they first come out and then they're like giving them away. It's like the only
yeah.
reason I haven't bought it. And I'm pretty sure you can besides like the OG original ones, I think you'll get the whole collection on Funko.com, which is
Yeah.
just like
For the most part they're all
it's
on there, yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, we kind of understood it was a higher price
Yep.
point. It wasn't for everyone. But I'm telling you, like, if you can just get your hands on one, like I highly suggest it. Like if it's your one of your favorite characters of the whole bunch, like
Get it.
just get that one. Like you need to get it in your hands. You have to see it, display it. Like they are overall like an awesome, awesome line, I think personally. And again, not everybody loves them, but if they don't make any more, I'm okay with them not making any more. Like I said, I'm
I
happy
want a
enough that
Freddy
I
one.
that I have them. Oh my God, I didn't even think about that. I'm surprised they never did a
Yeah.
Freddy. They really stuck to just actual IPs and they did not go with a Freddy. That would be crazy. Make that be their last one. Like
Yeah,
boom,
Funko man.
final diecast coming
We
out
had a
is
lot of good
Freddy,
ideas. We had a lot of good ideas.
That would be great. That would be great. Um yeah, those are some of the favorites. I mean, there's been so much. I
There's so
we
much.
we honestly didn't even talk about sodas, and I don't think we need to because sodas this year were just not it. We already kind of had our conversation on like what's going on with sodas, but like I think the pops is really where there was more stuff. Um, we have a lot of like Funko drama stuff, which we'll leave that towards the end. So we'll go to something different. But I did want to talk about just other collectibles.
Yeah.
We're a collecting podcast. We obviously predominantly have always talked about Funko, but most recently we've really gotten into other designer toys and other vinyl figures and whatever it is. And I mean, Charlie, if you look at his backdrop right now, is like a array of
Yeah.
different stuff, and that's kind of like what we want to still really
Become.
be. And yeah, and be especially going into 2024, where we're just doing lots of different things, and it's not just like sitting here talking about what Funko Pop came out and what drama happened. Like we want to mix it up. But of course, there's like the obvious ones. We guys, if you have been listening to us at all more recently, we're huge fans of Mischief Toys. Mischief Toys
Yeah.
has been one of the top lines that we have collected as of recently. The Ghastly, like I have so many of them. We try to get almost every single drop
Yeah.
if possible. They have been amazing. We got to meet them at Comic-Con, which was awesome as well. And everything they've come out with has been so fire. Like whether it's their Ghastlies or Demostros, they now have a plush that just finally came out, which we're super excited for. And what's to come for that company, I think it's going to be really exciting to continue to collect them. But what are some other lines that we've been collecting besides
I
them?
mean, yeah, we've obviously really got into dumpster fires from
Yeah,
100% Soft, which, they just had some sweet ones come out from Designer Con, and I feel like we're just going to continuously be hyped for those. Um, I think something I maybe want to get into a little bit in the new year, get a few is Chomps. Always wanted those, and I think they're super cool. Like they're just designer toys in general. Um, they've they've excited me this year.
yeah,
Um, I'm definitely more riding that positive train of Funko than I really want negative. I will always love Funko, but it has been fun to get into some other things. And I know you already mentioned Mischief Toys, but for me, that is the number one collectible for the year for me that has just excited me so much.
yeah.
Just that community is amazing. The drops are like, you get an adrenaline rush to try to
Biggest
get
rush.
these. They're just so cool. They know exactly what you want as a fan. And like, I just, even when they just had their week of mischief, like, even though I didn't get any random drops, but the fact that they were just like dropping stuff on there, having people get excited to look like they just know what's up. Now, I know they don't need to deal with what a huge company of Funko has to deal with, but like, it's just the excitement there. And I know that's just going to ride. totally into 2024, especially we're both members of the Covenant Mischief, which is super cool.
Hmm.
They get exclusives for that. But yeah, just I feel like the designer toys for me and you at least are I really want to get more into U2s as well.
Yeah.
Just in general, they're just it's where it's at.
Yeah. I definitely like love the idea of like just thinking outside of Funko. Like,
Yeah.
we both will still always love Funko, and it's not like we're not collecting Funko and giving up on it or anything like that. But it's cool to have a variety of other, things, especially when these companies haven't done you wrong, and like they're
Yeah.
fresh and they're new and they're exciting. And like Charlie said, these drops for these Gasleys and stuff are like bananas. Like they literally sell out within a minute. Like there's no Funko item right now that is selling out that fast.
No.
There's no Funko items that are as exclusive as these as well. Obviously, they're a small, tiny, husband and
Yes.
wife business. So they only make 200, 250, 350 piece counts, but that just makes it cooler and more exciting. And knowing that like you're one of those 350 or
Exactly.
250, and because of how fast they had to get in, like it just makes it more exciting. So when you miss drops, it's just like that much more like, damn, really wish I had that one. And the only regret is that I wish we got into them earlier
Agreed.
because there's some OG ones that I still think are like so sick and like unless you're gonna pay crazy prices because these things sell for a lot of money on the
It's
aftermarket
insane.
afterwards, you're probably not gonna get it. And it's like it's sad in that sense, but at the same time, like I'm glad we are when like we got into it when we did because we're
Yeah.
still getting some pretty sick stuff. Dumpster fires has been amazing. My daughters love dumpster fires. My daughter loves them as well. And like just getting all these other ones, like I said, U2s as well. Like you said, I definitely want to start getting to them. I don't have any of them. I didn't only collect Funko because I also had like a super plastic giant, like a figure that I showed off a long time ago that I got. So like I
Yeah.
try to dabble into that, but that's like the pricey designer toys.
Yeah.
So I didn't really get too into that. But yeah, I think going into the year, which we'll talk about more, like what we think of like in general, but whether it's us as collectors or the companies in general. But I think I can at least say now my collection will probably dwindle down more in the sense of like just being like more stuff that I'm like really, really in love with rather than just volume of stuff because I want to just have a crazy collection. Like I think
Yeah.
that's a turn for me going into the new year. But speaking of adding more stuff, we have other things that we also collect and we are starting to get into, and that's trading cards,
Yes.
which I never would have thought I would have got back into this. Like the OG days, I've had Pokemon cards, which everyone kind of did when you were young,
Yeah.
right? Then they kind of went away a bit, and now they have just become massive, bigger than they even were when we were kids when they
Way
first came
bigger.
out.
Yeah.
And I've never gotten back into them again. But Disney came around and decided to drop a damn trading card game called Lorcana, which we
Yes.
have both been fans of from afar. And like, this looks interesting. This will be cool. First chapter comes out, it's impossible to get it because of hype and the website's a mess. And you can never get it unless you're paying double the price. Like, it was just impossible. Then we get the second wave, and we get lucky enough. We're able to get a couple
Yes.
boxes here and there. We got a couple things from the first wave. So now
We're in it.
we're in it. We're definitely in it, and so much so that like I like look around for stuff and I'm getting excited
It's fun.
because I think I want to really start collecting it. I want to try to build sets. I want to try to play the game as well because it's obviously a trading card game. But yeah, Lorcana is definitely like hot right now for us. We did some pack openings and stuff. We're gonna do even more. I know we both
Yes.
have some booster boxes coming in, which that'll be fun to rip some packs. Whether we do it as a video, whether we do it here for you guys, like I don't know, we'll talk about that going into the new year. But we're gonna definitely be doing more of that kind of stuff along with our standard regular conversation stuff. But I'm very excited for that. I know you're also a pretty big fan of Lorcana. You
Totally.
haven't actually ripped any yet, though,
I
correct?
haven't
Right?
ripped them yet. I want to
You're
make
really holding on to them.
I'm holding on to them, want to make a big video. And I mean, I've joked with Megs on the side. Like, I feel like the moment my son sees these, he's going to go insane. So I'm going to get him a few so then he can have his because he actually recently got into, weirdly enough, Pokemon cards. And
Oh, wow, okay.
I'm like, I mean, obviously, it's not like crazy to get him a pack here or there. And like, he's just was likes looking at them and thinks they're cool. So he's starting to get the concept of like trading cards.
It's so funny. My daughter's the complete opposite. She got a pack at like McDonald's or whatever. You know, they
Yep,
had those for a little while, and she literally would be is like, "What do you do with this? Like, what is this? What does it do?" That's the thing she would ask me, and I'm like, "Well, it's a card. It's like
that's
a card. A picture."
amazing.
She literally cares less. She's like, "What? Like, what does it do? Like, why? Like, why would I want this?"
That's
But
amazing.
she did
Oh
see the
yeah,
Lorcana ones though, and got excited just because she loves the
which makes
characters.
sense.
She
She
doesn't know
knows
Pokemon yet, so
exactly. I mean, but we got like a little binder. He puts them in, like,
oh,
so it's
nice.
like, so he's like excited. So I know when he sees these, he's gonna go nuts. And these are for daddy,
Yeah,
which is gonna be hard to explain to him. But once they don't become impossible to find, I have no problems getting him his own cards. It's just they're still like finding unicorns. I
yeah,
mean, they're showing up obviously here and there, like we've said, but we're in it. And yeah, I'm gonna be like, I feel like this has now become a huge, like, I'm super pumped for this.
yeah.
Like just trading cards in general, which is weird because I haven't done this in forever either. I was obsessed with Pokemon cards, obviously, when we were the perfect age when Pokemon became like super popular in America.
Hmm.
Then I just like never got back into it. But I've always been intrigued by trading cards, as weird as it sounds. But I'm just like, I don't need to collect another thing. But now I realize in my adult life, they're great to collect because they don't take any room.
I know.
So
I wish I only collected
yeah.
cards. It's
So it's
like
like between that and then how you kind of mentioned, like, I kind of want to start getting into the One Piece trading card game too, because they just look super cool.
that's even a
Um,
harder one
yeah,
to find
it's
right now.
and I kind of like the rush of having to try to find them. Like
Yeah.
Funko used to be that way, and it's
Yeah.
not, which
Or
is like
ripping a pack open and not knowing what
exactly.
night card you're gonna get or which
It's
one.
cool, which
Will
is
it be
why I
that
love the
crazy one, you know?
NFTs. Just
Yes,
these are
exactly.
much cheaper.
Cheaper physically in your hand is a little more
Yes.
still always gonna be more exciting to me than digital. So yeah, they're it's a whole nother crazy ball game. It's insane. And like I think it's still wild that Pokemon is still as big as it is. And it's like because my brother collects Pokemon like really hardcore. He kind of never
Okay.
really stopped. He collected a little after I did, so he doesn't have like the OG stuff. He does have some, but he still collects like till this day. Like he'll get boxes here and there. He has plenty of binders. He has tons of like really, expensive. He has never really sent anything out to be graded or anything, but like he's a pretty big Pokemon collector. He doesn't, from what I know of, he doesn't play the card game. He plays the Pokemon Go game pretty hardcore.
Okay.
He even went to like a freaking convention fair thing that they had in New York one time. So like he's pretty hardcore in that sense. But just cards wise, yeah, I was always more into the sports cards and then I stopped doing that. And sports cards world's kind of interesting.
What's
There's
funny you
it's
bring that up. Like I even sometimes say, I'm shocked you don't collect sports cards, and even myself. Sometimes I see them in the store. I'm like, should I buy
I
these?
know it's just a huge rabbit hole. There's so
I
many,
know.
and I feel like you're not playing them, so they're like strictly collecting, right?
Yep.
So like the only real reason you're gonna collect them realistically is probably for value.
Yep.
So like unless you're just getting a couple guys you like, whatever. But like there's I feel like 98% of the cards are like worth a
Or
penny.
trash.
Yeah, so it's like you're just getting such nothing just to hopefully pull something really nice. And like, yeah, there's excitement and stuff behind that. But to me, like the fact that this is also like a game that you can play, but then there's also a collecting aspect of it, that just makes it kind of exciting. But it's funny that you brought that up about the sports thing because I was at Target and I was looking, it was the first time I seen these cards in the wild, which is hilarious. I had already ordered these starter decks, so I didn't want to get duplicate starter decks because essentially you're going to get 60 of the same exact cards
Yeah.
again and just one booster pack. So I was like, oh, it's cool just to see them because I never see them. And they were literally next to obviously hundreds of Pokemon cards, and there's like Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and then you see like little boxes, and you see these like football cards, and there's like basketballs, all these different ones, and I'm like, damn, there's so many cards. Dude, they even, and I forgot that they had these, and I almost feel like I want to get into them, but I don't. They have UFC trading cards,
Yeah.
and I was looking into them after the fact and seeing like some of the stuff you could pull, and like, and I'm a huge obviously UFC fan. I also work for them part time, but like I was like, holy crap. And it was funny because I didn't notice them when I was there. I noticed them in the picture that I sent you when I was like, hey, look, they have Lorcana cards. And I
That's
started zooming in
amazing.
and I'm like, well, they have UFC cards there. And then I went to Target, a different Target, another time, had no Lorcana cards at this Target, but they had the UFC cards as well too. And I didn't grab them, but like that's something that's like in the back of my mind potentially if I get into more cards. But right now I'm in the sense that like I need to get a binder, I need to get sleeves. Like I'm still like
That's another reason I haven't
figuring that
ripped them
out
all
right
open
now.
either because I
Yeah,
want
I
to be
have it. I put
protected.
them damn right back in the freaking box, even though I pulled pretty sick ones, bro.
Yeah.
Not an enchanted card, but I pulled another one that you haven't seen.
Oh.
That was like, yeah, it's a pretty cool one. It's like a $11 card, which is
Oh wow.
pretty good for a damn freaking
Yeah.
basic. It's not
Totally.
an enchanted card at all. So, but yeah. Anyways, we can go on and on about that. Very excited for the new year because I think we're gonna really get into that
Yes.
kind of stuff and talk about it too. If you guys like when we talk about it, let us know because it's exciting for us. Like we said, we're collector chatter. We like to chat about all things collecting. We don't want to just to be only Funko. Obviously, will always be our probably biggest collect. Well, maybe
Yep.
not because we're
Well,
going to really get into other stuff, but we'll still talk about other stuff as well. But speaking of Funko, I guess we can do our last couple topics here, and
yeah.
then I know we also do want to open up
Yeah.
a little gift that we got each other, for Christmas for you guys to see as well. But we'll get into some of the drama stuff. We love drama. Everybody loves drama. We'll just kind of just quickly brush by some of the biggest news and controversies of 2023 when it comes to Funko and that kind of stuff, because we know that this year was packed with
Act.
controversial stuff. We could start it off honestly with the beginning of the year with the Buckeye Warehouse
Ooh.
controversy. Do you remember that? Jeez.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
Selling NFT pops for nothing. That's supposed to be burned.
Yeah, it
All
was
these
so much bad
boxes
about
that
that.
were to me, yeah, that was like the pinnacle of
Grails
that.
and
But Grails are there. Funko Pops that were sold out that you couldn't find anymore. Freddy Funkos, like just
yeah.
that was like it's just funny that happened at the beginning of the year. That just set up Funko for failure for
Yeah, bro.
2023.
It started off bad. It was ending on a weird note because we knew they were losing money and we knew that like stocks were always having issues. And another thing that kind of coincided with that was the price increases
Oh,
towards the beginning
yeah.
of the years when we got that real crazy spike of like Funko Pops are going to be now 12, $15. Sodas went to like 15, $18. And we were like, what the hell?
What?
Like everything was just getting really pricey and all the bigger pops just went up another 5, 10, $15. Like everything was just going up. And it kind of happened at the same time as a damn controversy of the warehouse and like what were they doing? Like as a company, it's like a liquidation, like, all right, cool, you're getting rid of stuff. But it was just like a bad taste in your mouth when you saw that it was like things that were supposed to be exclusive, things that were supposed to be sold out, things that like that's when it was like, what the hell are you doing,
Yeah, there
Funko? You're just
shouldn't
slapping
be
us in the face.
fun day boxes there. People would have bought them.
The
That's what,
NFTs, like that thing
yeah.
was crazy.
Like I get the
The
liquidation of it
turtles.
all, like the commons and stuff that you can
Uh-huh.
get anywhere. But these
100%.
pieces that like we have friends that are like pissed off they didn't get them. And then people are getting them for next to nothing. It's
Yeah,
just,
that's another thing too.
it's
I mean,
insane.
I guess if you were
That's,
there, congratulations. Like it was probably
I
one of the most
know.
amazing things of the year if you were in one of those lines. But yeah, it was chaotic. And then we had people that were like there in groups of 4 or 5 just
Just taking
shoveling stuff and everything.
everything.
It was such a crazy thing to start the year for Funko now that I think about it.
Well, it's
And it
just
kind
funny.
of was definitely a sign to see what was to come, if we're
It
brutally
was because
honest.
like I don't feel like we ever really talked smack about Funko like we did this year on the podcast. I
Yeah.
mean,
There
we're
was
pretty
just
much Funko stands.
too much
Like
stuff. Yeah, there was just too much stuff out there for us to just be like, what the
to
hell?
ignore it. And like, I mean, from that to then the whole debacle of the San Diego Comic-Con fun days
Yeah.
where they're putting the same pops and changing the stickers on them, which like I know Funko is still gonna say like, well, people pay all this money for a con sticker versus a shared sticker, but it's just
Hmm.
not the same. And like with all of those fire molds and Freddy's that we just talked about, like they didn't need to put themselves in this situation at all.
Nope.
Like they could have just made a little few less, made people happy, and like it's another thing. They shot themselves in the foot. We wouldn't be talking about this, and it really hurt them. It that really hurt the trust of a lot of fans.
Oh yeah.
Um, And then to top it all off, which I still love talking about because I thought it was amazing, someone dressed up as like the disgusting sandwich that they were served for Halloween. I noticed a picture in one of my Funko groups that they were like serving people the most disgusting food ever, and people
Yeah.
got food poisoning.
Yeah, it was like one of the worst events supposedly. But then again, like those people that still loved it and like, just being there and whatever, like it wasn't only negative, but
Yeah,
like it was hard to like really get past like some of these crazy things that they did and like stuff that they didn't do and like just mistakes that were made and the sticker thing and the pops just being shipped out. Like it was just such a chaotic craziness that like you can't like blame some stuff for slipping and getting messed up because there's just
yeah,
so many moving parts. But like at a company that size, you would hope that like some of this stuff would have been kind of figured out beforehand. And it was messy. It was definitely messy. They've been messy with a lot of stuff. They've been messy not only with Funko Pops, but with Funko NFTs.
yeah,
And Funko
oh,
NFTs was another thing that was huge for them throughout the year. We've always said this was a moneymaker for them. And overall, the NFTs seem to have kind of lost a lot of their like luster and how like exciting they were.
yeah,
Um, they clearly still sell, but like you ended the year with a drop that was supposed to be an exclusive to their drop, which that was a whole nother, chaotic thing. But you ended the year with a drop that you burned the most like packs you've ever burned in
yeah.
any drop. Like that is not a good look to end the year like that. Like that's just was not what they, I'm sure, were looking forward to, especially when it was attached to an IP like Disney. Like it was just weird.
It's
But
totally bad luck.
it wasn't even the worst of like what we had to deal with. Like the shipping has still been an issue and uh things being lost, being damaged, being sent the wrong items. Like come on, like some of that stuff is just crazy that it still has gone on and gone on as much as it has. And a lot of it is just kind of like been chaotic because their customer service has not been the most helpful. And it's been impossible to get in contact with people, and you're having to contact them multiple times. And then, you guys know if you're collectors, the whole $30 thing, where it's like, oh, you lost that here, I'll give you $30. And like, is it really worth that? And like, realistically, like, yeah, that's a pack. So you're paying probably what they paid
Yep,
for in a pack. You could totally pull one, two, three redeemables in one pack. But for the most part, if you're not living under a rock and an idiot, like that people invest a lot of money into
that's
the
the
NFT
problem.
packs. You get more packs, you buy off of other people, you buy cards here and there. Like it's not just, oh, I've just got one pack for $30 and I pulled all these things. Like, come on, Funko. That's realistically not what's happening. But there's just been so much that like has steered a lot of people away from it. We've kind of slowed down. We haven't fully just been like, no, we're never going to buy NFTs, but it has affected us. And it's
Yeah,
crazy that it all happened within just a year. Like it's not a long time to really lose faith in like a product that fast. And it's been pretty interesting because I just want to see what happens going into the new year for Funko and Drop and the NFTs. But yeah, that was definitely a big thing that happened throughout the year that we had to deal with, especially as Funko NFT collectors.
yeah. I mean, I'm still waiting to get emails back from an issue that I had, and it's just kind of like I ponder like this is someone's job. Like, just answer the email. There's no way they get that many. I know a lot of people are complaining, but it's your sole
Maybe they
job
do.
is to like respond to people. It's just it bothers me so much because the NFTs are like the most exciting thing for me for Funko.
Hmm.
And like you said, yeah, we've lost a little faith in it, and it's just crazy because those were the what we were talking about Mr. Toys before. Like these would sell out like super quick. It's crazy to think you're right. Within a year, there was a point where you couldn't get a drop. Now, there's no way you're not going to get what you want.
Yeah.
Even the Freddy ones, which were like the Funkoween, I know they were hard to get, but you were not going to get packs.
Hmm.
Which even for Freddy, like said, I know it's sold out, but it's just so upsetting that they like continuously are just messing stuff up. And you know how happy we'd be if they just shipped us something in protectors? They wouldn't be burning all these packs.
Yeah.
Something as simple as that. They don't want to spend the money on it, but it's actually costing them money in the long run because people would buy them. But then that even brings me back to another big drama of the company this year. Our leader, Brian, um, talk about a roller coaster ride for that dude because I thought he was the man a year ago. Like that dude was so
That you
cool.
were the man, homie.
Yeah. I'm still in shock about him. I mean, I know you don't know people like you think you do. They have this persona,
Yeah, of
but
course.
like I'll never forget when I watched the documentary about Funko making fun. I was just like, dude, this guy is so cool. He like took something that I was passionate about. I mean, we've said this a million times, but like he made Funko to what it like was at its like, top of its game, which I do hope they can get back there. But now to see the guy just like totally just crumble. I mean, I feel like you should they can make a movie about him.
Yeah,
Like,
I
I
think you've
mean,
mentioned that before. It's
like
totally,
I totally,
totally
and I'm
true.
not even joking about it. Like, I'm hoping Funko doesn't go away, but if it does, it'll be like a huge story of rise and fall of a major company. It just
Yeah,
gets crazy to me.
and a major CEO and all that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. But yeah, I totally agree, man. This year was wild when it came to we knew they were, they were struggling with certain things. They had a lot of things that had to change. They started firing people left and right. There was layoffs. They got rid of the social media team. Like there was so many changes that happened. But then to hear that the head and CEO, the top dog, the guy who, was there creating all of this was leaving. And it was like not in a good way. It wasn't like he was an old guy that's retiring, like
No.
passing it on. Like it was controversial and it was a lot of craziness. And it was a lot of it was like, what's going on? Like, did he do something or was something going on with him personally? Which I know we've kind of hinted towards kind of what seemed like he was just kind of just hitting rock bottom. It almost felt
Yeah.
like. And then, he steps down and they basically part ways, and then he was going to be a part of like some of their stuff, and then now he's not like necessarily totally a part of it, and like it was just such a chaotic thing. But I think it was a good move in the sense of like what ended up happening afterwards is what we always said should have happened, because
Yeah.
the CEO of the company, we have always said, should be a suit and tie that sits in the back and makes decisions that you never know who he is. You don't see him, you have nothing to do. Because especially this type of company, he wasn't doing that. It wasn't mixed right. The business things were not like they weren't working, and like they had plenty of stuff that was mess, whether it was financially or just like ideas or whatever it was, or not having ideas. And him stepping away, we got a new guy for the most part. We have not heard a single peep about this
Nope.
person.
He's not.
And
Yeah.
whether it's been a good or a bad end of the year for Funko, like in reality, like some stuff has been good. I think Mike really taking over more of like the face and the social media part. And like, even though he's kind of cringe sometimes, like he is pushing the brand and he's really like doing a great job. He's showing up at all these cons and all these events. He was even at the Buckeye event.
Yeah.
And like he's doing his part and that's helping a lot. I think there's just like a huge uphill climb for him and for the company that we just haven't seen them where they were because of how low they may have honestly gotten. And whether it's to say it's because of Brian or it's not because of Brian or it was another reason, but Brian wasn't helping, like whatever it was, he's no longer there. And now they have a whole new, a new, basically a new stone turned over. They got to start doing it all over going into the new year.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know we're going to talk about kind of what we think of it, but I think, to kind of transition to that, I do think we will see a change. I know we are supposed to start seeing like less SKUs and less items being cut back based off of their earnings meeting and call that they had. We knew they lost a lot of money and they're going to start cutting a lot of stuff back. And it makes sense. It just didn't seem like it's been happening yet. Like obviously that's probably a long process, because they still are selling random things and they're coming out with even new things that I have no idea why they're doing it. Uh, but it's going to be interesting to see kind of like where Funko goes into the new year. But I mean, like I have high hopes and I think they'll be a great company and brand. I don't think they're just done and shutting down right now. But I will say, like, I don't see myself being as excited for Funko products as I probably was in my peak. I don't think they'll ever get back to that point, if I'm being completely honest. Uh, but I could see them still being something that is exciting and they come out with things here and there if they can fix certain little things. But I don't know what you think.
I mean, I'm a little more optimistic, I think, than you are. Like, I don't think they'll ever get back to their peak like they were during the pandemic, which is just such a weird situation. But like, I look at it as someone, which everyone, if you listen to this podcast, like I've collected Funko for a really long time, way longer before it was popular. So I've seen it come into mainstream, and I just think they are going to go back to the way Mike had it when I think Mike was running more of the creative, when Brian was more just the suit. And then I think Brian mixed his way into everything. So I think we're going to bring it back down to stuff that is just exciting. Like, I do think we're going to get more exclusive Freddies. I do think they'll get Fun Days under control because no one ever had anything bad to say about Fun Days until this past year.
Mhm.
Really, even the year before, like people didn't have anything bad to say about it. Um, and I think they need to get back to making lines like pops are here to say. And we've said like maybe they just need to stop expanding into trying new stuff. Like, let's just get to know, do what we do best. And then if you want to start expanding a little bit more once they get back on track, I'm cool with that. But I do think we'll finally see what they've been talking about, the less SKUs. People have been complaining about it, but like if you know how anything is manufactured and made, it takes a long time. These were already in the plans and they're not just going to get rid of them. I'm sure they've canceled some stuff, but they haven't canceled everything because there's just no that they'll lose money even more.
Mhm.
I think they just need to also get back to more limited pieces, and I do think they're going to do that. Like, I think Mike is going to save this company in a weird way, like, and he's going to make it, no pun intended, like fun again, which is,
Mhm.
I think they can get there. I truly do. And it's just by making less stuff, but still plenty for the fans. Like, as a Marvel fan, like they need to be done making a million Marvel pops for everything.
Yeah.
Like, that's like a perfect example of like, let's just not do that anymore. When a new movie comes out, let's make like the main characters and call it a day. Even for Star Wars, I love Star Wars, but like we don't need a million Mandalorian pops from every season of like random characters that no one really cares about or repeats. That's like one thing I think they're gonna do.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see that. And I mean, we're also talking in the sense of like if that's what they do,
Yeah,
that's going to be successful, people will like it. So like that's like kind of like what they have to do. We will never know what they're going to do until they do it, but for sure like that's the way to look at it. Like let's see what happens and we're hoping for the best because yeah, this is a company that we both love and we got really into and it really brought us together, brought this
yeah,
podcast and everything together. So I would hate to have it like being non-existent, but like let's see if they start fixing a lot of these problems and all these little things and start really listening to the fans and going back to some of their like core stuff that they did. And we'll see. It was a tough year. I would probably say if I had to
yeah,
give them like a one type of thing, like was this a good year? Was it a bad year? It's probably more of a bad year overall. Like there was plenty of good, but there really was some big bads. And like obviously, like we just talked about, even losing their head guy, like a lot of that stuff was not a positive look for Funko. So they can only really go up from here realistically. So even if they have like a decent
yeah,
star and they're going whatever, it's gonna look even better because of where they're currently at. So I'm definitely optimistic in that sense. Like that I could see a positive, upswing and I guess we'll see going into the new year. Uh but I think that's probably it
yeah.
with like
That's the main
everything. There was
stuff.
tons of stuff. 2023 was great. I mean, overall, us as collectors, I mean, we put a bunch of episodes of podcasts out for you
Yeah,
guys. We ripped NFT cards. We opened
we
up
loved
tons
it.
of pops and it was great. There was tons of craziness as well. And like, yeah, it wasn't perfect, but we're here at the end of the year and it's been amazing. And I'm excited to see what 2024 obviously brings for us. But yeah, this is obviously going to be coming out right before Christmas, and then we'll probably take a little bit of time off
Yep.
going into the new year. So, first of all, obviously, happy holidays and Merry Christmas if you guys celebrate. Really excited and Happy New Year for 2024.
Yes, gotta get it
Definitely let
all
us
in.
know down below a lot of stuff. Like, what were some of your favorites of the year? What are some of the things you're looking forward to? What are your thoughts on Funko in general? Do you collect other brands? Like any of that stuff? If you're listening, jump over to YouTube and definitely let us know if you're watching here. Comment down below because really appreciate it. Definitely like the video. But I know me and Charlie have something that we got each
Yeah,
other. Just kind of just wanted to open it up here for you guys to kind of see our our
let's do it.
reactions and everything as well. Um, yeah, I have one here. Let me see. All
You want to
right.
go? You want to do it at the same
Uh,
time?
yeah, we can open at the same time, then we'll show them. Is
Yeah,
yours? I know I've like taped the hell out of that box,
yeah,
so I don't know
I'm
if you
going.
need like knife or something. Rip a little bad. Too.
All right, I got it. Got it open.
Got it. All right,
Yes.
here we go.
All right. I got,
Ready?
yeah, I got two things in here. So,
Yeah, we can shop. Yeah. Oh, sick. Nice. Oh, I've never actually seen one of these boxes.
ooh. All right, I'm gonna show this real quick.
Got
We got some Mandalorian playing cards. These are sick.
nice. Yeah, you're a playing card guy now, bro.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'll show off mine.
Oh,
Oh,
let's go.
look at that. First U2s. Dude, I've never seen this. Like what I didn't is it comes in a protector?
Yeah,
See that?
dude. Right? I was super pumped for you to open this because there's so
This
many
is
things that they
hilarious.
do,
Oh my
right?
God,
That
yeah.
like Funko could learn from.
Dude,
And
literally.
I'm just like, what are you doing? Oh, sick. Oh. And then we got The Last Ronin. It's awesome. Graphic novel.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's pretty sick.
Because you
That
know we
is
love
like sick.
turtles over here. Thank you, Megs. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, this is like a crazy ass like so it has another box on the outside and then
Yes.
the actual
You get a
figure on the
protector,
inside.
a sleeve, and then the
Oh,
actual
so sick. And
the
this one
actual
is of
thing.
course Jesse Pinkman, Breaking Bad. Dude, this line is so sick. I talked about getting it. I haven't gotten any of them, but I was like wanting to get into these. And this is obviously my way in.
Yes. I
So
had to get you
the
started on
first
something new.
one. Yeah, which is sick because I you have some YouTubes, right?
I have one.
One,
I
okay.
I I want to
Dude,
get
this
more
is
of
so
them,
cool that it comes in a freaking
right? It's
legit.
ridiculous.
It's legit like pop protector, but for
For you
YouTube
twos.
bucks,
Yeah.
which is great.
I have a Sean Evans one from Hot
Oh yeah,
Ones,
yeah,
which
that's what it
is
was.
totally random because like that's like one thing that U2 does really well. They make a lot of random like I mean Sean Evans isn't random, but like they make a lot of
Yeah,
content creators. Like Tristan from Top Hops has his own one, which is super cool.
yeah,
He's obviously huge, but they do that with like a lot of creators. But then they have random stuff like Sean Evans from Hot Ones. I mean, he doesn't have a Funko Pop, which Funko, what are you doing?
yeah,
He should have a
yeah.
Funko
No,
Pop.
that's so
Um,
funny.
but that's like one thing I love about that company. It's things that like Sean Evans is just a perfect one to me. I mean, the YouTube, I wish I had it to show, but it's just so cool. I mean, he's literally sitting there with the table, the hot sauces are on it. It's
Yeah.
like super detailed, and they can do it in like a small form factor. They don't need to be huge like Funko, and they
Hmm.
make just like things for everyone. They actually like, I feel like they've always been like an underdog to Funko, but they're a little more expensive.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's could be part of the reason
Yeah,
that
they're
they
definitely
haven't
more of
blown
like
up.
a very nice high-end vinyl.
Yes.
But like their
But they have
details are
all the IPs.
amazing. Yeah, they
Like,
have a bunch of different ones. Yeah, exactly. And they make like really cool, unique, like even the Breaking Bad line specifically, like some of the characters and the what they're doing is like so cool and unique to like the show
yes.
or a specific little part. And like, yeah, they
And they
definitely
have
do
their
an
own
awesome part.
look. Just like
Oh yeah,
if you
100%.
see it, you know
Yep.
it's a U2's, like if you know what
Yep.
they are, which is
Yep.
cool.
That's sick. Thank you for the
No,
first one in
and
my
thank you
collection.
for my stuff too. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that's gonna be it, guys. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys for, sticking around with us for this whole year. This is what is our second year? officially, or not even a full year, 2 years. I don't
No,
even remember when we
dude,
started. Third year?
it's yeah, we're pushing on
Holy
yeah,
crap.
3 years. It's insane.
So
I
this will
know.
like okay, like over two
It's
years
probably
and
our
not three.
yeah. Now I want to.
I forgot when we started. It was like mid-ish year, right? Towards the end of the year,
It was
maybe.
towards the end of the year. But we've been doing this
Yeah,
for
I
longer
can't.
than you
This is
think.
crazy.
It's
Yeah, I didn't
crazy.
think about that. Wow. But yeah, it's been
Dude, our first episode was September 12th, 2021.
whew. Okay, so 2 years.
Yeah.
Two just over 2 years
Yeah, but
because we
still.
started in September.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah, wow. So we're going into a third year. That's crazy. Yeah, but thank you guys for everyone who's been around from the beginning, for new people, whatever. We enjoy having all you guys as fans, and it's been a great year. Hope nothing but the best for you guys. But definitely make sure that you guys are liking down below on the video, comment and everything. And follow us on our socials and stuff. So Charlie will kind of end it off like we usually do.
Yeah.
And if you got anything else to say, go ahead. You can.
Yeah, so main thing that I want to say is, happy holidays to everyone. Kind of like Migs already said, happy new year. We appreciate all the support that you've given us, and we really, it's crazy. We're just saying how long we've been doing this for, but I think 2024 is going to be a great year for us, and it's also going to be transformative because we're gonna, like we said, we're still gonna always talk about Funko, but we're gonna really try to bring back talking about a bunch of different collectibles, maybe have some more guests on, bring back the collector council a little bit, just kind of like change everything up. So we look forward to that, but also let us know in the comments what you would like to see. I feel like we haven't really asked that in a while, so we really appreciate like giving us some things that you would love to hear. And also, obviously, we always say follow us on Instagram at Collector Chatter, but you can also just message us on there. Me and Migs will talk and respond to you. It
Mhm.
doesn't just need to be comments on YouTube or if you're listening on the podcast, which there isn't really a way to do that. So that's why I was like, come over to YouTube. Um, so yeah, hit us up on Instagram at Collector Chatter, and then you obviously at Pop underscore Migs and at Collector underscore Charlie. And if you haven't already, if you could please subscribe to this channel, hit that like button, and once again, comments, and then hit that notification bell so you know when new videos are coming out. Once again, everyone, we'd like to thank you. We hope you have a happy holidays and ring in this new year. And don't forget, collecting is the way. Until next year, everyone. Later.
Bye, everybody. Happy New Year. Happy holidays.